Now, Wave News at noon.
Right now at noon, the search continues for a killer as a family grieves. Take a look at your screen right now. Do you know this person? Police say that they're responsible for fatally shooting a young woman walking to a child to a bus stop yesterday morning. As detectives search for a killer, community leaders, they are calling for change.
Because we keep losing people every day. And it's way too often that until it impacts your family, that you care. Care when it ain't your family.
That's right.
Walk when it ain't your family. Because you don't never know when it's going to be your family. Or when it's going to be you. This young lady was at the bus stop trying to protect her child. She got gunned down.
Strong words coming from Metro Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins as she, neighbors, community leaders, and local clergy behind her at the bus stop at 10th and Chestnut, where that young woman was shot and killed yesterday morning. Thanks so much for joining us on Wave News at noon, everybody. I'm Rob Wells. That press conference lasting nearly 2 hours, each speaker pleading for a change. The name of that young woman murdered hasn't been released, but family tells us that her name is Redaja Williams. Police tell us that she was shot as she walked a young student to the bus stop at 10th and Chestnut. That was yesterday morning about 8 a.m. She was rushed to the hospital where she later died. Since then, there's been a public outpouring of support for her family, including a growing memorial where she was shot. Each person at this morning's press conference echoing that there's something broken in this city and enough is enough.
Like everyone has said, it truly takes the entire city to step up and do their part. And we, again, have to be proactive.
And when Tyree got killed, I said, you know what, this is a time for the men, the black men, the brown men, the poor white men, to step up and be the men that you say you are. Okay? Come out and protect these babies. You can go up in Double Deuces and Club Cedar.
Make it make sense.
Okay? But you can't get up in the morning to walk these babies to the bus stop.
Another speaker at that news conference, a Louisville mother who knows the pain of losing a child to violence, Nicole Coward's son Richard Harper, who was fatally shot January 2019 on his way to school. He was a senior at Valley High.
My son's killer was once his friend. It was over a girl. So my heart breaks for the young lady who lost her life yesterday. If you can't stand on a bus stop trying to get your child an education to send them to school, where can you stand?
All right.
It's lady right here. The next year after my son was murdered, her son was murdered on the school bus stop. I didn't choose this life chose me. I don't know what we can do, but I ask God every day to give me strength to keep going, because living life every day without my child has been a struggle.
A teenager was arrested months later in the state of Ohio and charged with Harper's murder. After declaring the 10th and Chestnut bus stop safe before that deadly shooting yesterday, Metro Police were not patrolling the area. Today, though, a much different story. We spotted several officers around that stop, along with multiple patrol cars. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey hasn't said how long those officers will be keeping an eye on exactly where it happened. Right now at noon, we're still waiting on an update from Metro Police after a man died this morning from gunshot wounds that he suffered last night. We're told that all parties are accounted for in that particular case, and charges are still pending against the suspect. That shooting happened about 11:30 last night in the 3000 block of Middale Lane. Police tell us that when they arrived, the suspect, not yet identified, barricaded himself inside of an apartment but then finally came out. The name of the victim not yet been released to us. This afternoon, we're still waiting to learn the name of the woman fatally shot near 41st and West Broadway. It happened about 9 o'clock last night. Police don't have any suspects in this case either. If you know anything, you're asked to call the LMPD anonymous tip line. And of course, be sure to download the free Wave News app, where you can get updates on deliveries and any type of story all throughout your day on your phone or your tablet. You can download it from your app store anytime. And meteorologist Brian Good is in now with a quick check of the weather. Brian, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Rob. Yeah, certainly the cloud up outside. You may have noticed here right behind me over the city of Louisville how clouds have really built up. In fact, one dark cloud. I feel like I always have a dark cloud over me, but in this case, it's right over the city of Louisville. And this may actually start to produce some raindrops here very soon. Now, outside of these clouds, it's heating up quickly. 86 officially at the airport just down the road, 86 in E-Town, Bardstown, and about 82 down into Hart County in Munfordville. Look how fast these cumulus clouds have filled in just in the past hour alone. And yes, some of these have grown to be able to produce a couple of downpours. One into Adair County, just south of Columbia. Got a lightning with that one. And a couple east of our wave viewing area here as you head a little closer to, say, the Danville area in Mercer County. You get into Louisville Metro, yeah, starting to see some of these blips. And again, not all of these are registering as downpours yet, but they're getting to the point where the radar can at least see them starting to develop in some of these cumulus clouds. So the rain chance, we'll keep it about 20-30% this afternoon. Again, outside of the rain chance, temperatures right around 90 degrees. And boy, we're not going to stop there on that heat. More on the extended outlook coming up in just a few more minutes, Rob.
Brian, thanks so much. Today kicks off one of the biggest and longest running events in the entire state. Of course, we're talking about the Great Kentucky State Fair. Organizers say there's really something for everyone. People can learn about the state's agriculture and see all the work that goes into the foods the farmers produce for us. There are more than 50 rides and carnival games, along with several exhibit halls and competitions. And with so much to enjoy, one of the fan favorites is the commodity breakfast. We caught up with Congressman Morgan McGarvey about why traditions like this are important to the state fair.
Kentucky is still a big agricultural state, and I think it's important for people to know that we've got farmers here who are growing our food, who are making our food, who are making a living for their family doing it, and it's something we want to make sure continues to happen.
And the fair itself, it's open until 10 o'clock tonight. By the way, kids under 18 have to be with an adult that is 21 years or older after 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Now, on Friday and Saturday, kids must always have an adult chaperone. And if you're planning on visiting the fair, here's some tips and tricks to make sure that your fun doesn't fizzle out. First off, the newly renovated Gate 4 off of Crittenden Drive is open with a lot more lanes for you. Rideshare, it's always a great option if you don't want to pay for parking. You'll be dropped off at the old bowling alley lot, where you can then walk in using the special pedestrian entrance that's over at gate number 1. Be sure, of course, to take plenty of water breaks and take advantage of all the indoor air-conditioned buildings that are available this year at the fair. And if you're wanting to check out all the new food items like the ostrich burger, if you dare, it's a one-day only food, you can download the Kentucky State Fair app. If you're planning on checking out the livestock barns, make sure to check out the daily schedule that they have. Weekends, of course, are expected to be packed with visitors. So if you can, try to get there early and bring your patients. Or get there maybe a little bit later in the day and park in the V lot. That's right off of Phillips Lane. A lost ring at a beach some 50 years ago, making its way back to its rightful owner. We'll give you a closer look at how that reunion actually took place, coming up right after the break.
Ostrich burger, huh?
That's kind of interesting.
Sounds
right?
Very interesting. All right, we got the latest outlook for the Kentucky State Fair and a developing hurricane out in the Atlantic. We'll talk more about that as well next.
And Brian's in now with a look at the forecast. I'm already thinking about my friends in Florida because we're watching this thing called Erin, and we know she's gaining force. Some are saying that it might be a Category 3 by this weekend, maybe even sooner. That's when it gets so scary down there. You just don't know. And this is like literally down there, the calm before the storm. I'm from Ohio, but spending years down there before coming here, it's just a different atmosphere this time of year.
And it's so slow evolving, the stage of it. You know, it's just constantly the headline, but it doesn't move very fast until you get right into that moment, which will likely be early next week, the way it's looking. All right.
Is that right? Okay.
All right. Let me give you an update. Here's where we stand with right now Tropical Storm Erin. It's easy to pick it out. There's a little bit of a challenge past few days. when it's further out in the Atlantic. Now it really stands out as it approaches the Antilles here very soon. In fact, it's getting so well organized, it's showing tropical storm at 60 miles per hour. But the presentation indicates this thing's going to be a hurricane sooner than what is currently forecast. I think it'll be this afternoon. Now, the hurricane hunters are forecast at 4 p.m. to fly into it. Got a feeling that's the first time we'll get actual real-time data from it, and that upgrade may indeed happen. But yes, Rob's right. We're expecting this to go at least to a Cat 3 as we head into the weekend and early next week. That turn is crucial, but it's going to be large. So this is only the center track. You got to keep in mind it's going to be much bigger than that. So there will be some impact to the eastern Bahamas, and rip currents will be a pain for the East Coast. I think a lot of the beaches for the East Coast in general will have to stay closed to be too dangerous. All right, that's the headline for the Atlantic and the tropics. For us right now, the headline is about the heat. It hasn't been too bad yet, right? Roughly around 90 or so, but we'll likely increase that into the mid to upper 90s as the ground continues to dry out for the upcoming weekend. So make sure you have a way to stay cool. All right, let's get you outside and show you the live view where we are tracking those cumulus clouds. You can see one dark cloud moves by, and then you get back to blue sky again, and then you're back to another cloud. It'll be that way for the rest of the day. 86 at Ali. 91 is what it currently feels like. So, yeah, it's a pretty humid afternoon. 82 in Paoli, got 84 in Lebanon, Kentucky, down into Marion County. Some downpours are starting to pop in that area. So here's a look at the satellite and radar combo. You can see where the moisture is really focused in southern Indiana, all the way down to our southern counties south of the parkways. And it's not going to be widespread heavy rain. It'll be very patchy. You'll be driving along, you'll hit a downpour, and the very next mile marker, it'll be back to sunshine again. So that often on nature, though, can really mess up the traffic, so take it easy out there. Really the strongest, or the heaviest one we have is way in the southern part of our area into southern Adair County, where it does have a couple of lightning strikes at times with it. Marion County starting to see a little bit of development now. Also down into southern areas of Hardin County. Louisville so far has been quiet. We've had a couple hints that some drops may be coming out of these clouds, even across Clark County. So I'm not going to rule it out. We're not quite there yet to the max part of the rain chance. That will likely take place within the next 2 hours, all the way through about sunset. So you know the drill. It's been a very common theme all week long. This is pretty much a rinse and repeat forecast. You can see the outlook here on Futurecast shows how random they will be. They only last 5, maybe 10 minutes. They collapse, and then maybe another one for the next neighborhood will show up. But again, we'll hold on to that chance through at least the midnight hour before they have really a chance to fade out completely. Then the heat takes over. We're looking at those 90s starting tomorrow, lower 90s, mid-upper 90s for the weekend. A front is scheduled to come in toward the middle of next week, but it's only temporary relief right now. It may give us some rain, some 80s for highs, but I do think the 90s will try to fight back for next weekend, Rob.
It's bad when the 80s look like a cool down.
I
that
know.
makes you
Yeah,
think
it's been,
twice, right?
Yeah, it's been a little rough here lately. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, my friend. Gone but not forgotten. A man lost his college ring more than 50 years ago, but much to his surprise, he just got it back. Sonia Rincon has a closer look at how this all unfolded.
You never know what treasure might be buried under the sand. But David Orlowski can find out. He scans Cedar Beach as a hobby.
Some things you can't explain how they got there.
It's easy to explain how someone could lose a ring in the cold Sound.
They go in the water, it shrinks your hands, and off your ring goes.
He's found lots of rings, but most of them aren't this personalized. It was a white gold Fordham class of 1969 ring with a name inscribed in it. Orlowski was in up to his knees, right in this spot at low tide.
I got a good hit on the metal detector, and I dug for it, and it was very deep. It was probably like 1.5 feet deep, and I just kept digging, and finally it came out.
A few days later in Texas, Dr. Alfred DiStefano asked his letter carrier to document him opening the package.
Oh, I lost it again.
But there it was.
I can't believe it.
The class ring he'd been without far longer than he'd had it.
That is it. So that's pretty cool. You got it back after 50-some-odd years? 56 years. Could you imagine that?
DiStefano remembers being on a dock or a pier when his ring slipped into the water. The closest dock here now is half a mile away. But it's possible there was one here or closer all those years ago.
When you think of the continents moving over hundreds of millions of years, you know, a little ring could move over 50 years, you know. a half a mile.
It's back on his hand after being mailed 1,600 miles, thanks to a Fordham class reunion Facebook group. Orlowski's message reached moderator Karen Manning, who was so impressed that he wanted to find the ring's owner.
He could have just sold it and made some money on it, but it restored my faith in humanity.
Orlowski credits his wife.
She says, well, if you lost your ring, wouldn't you want it returned? And so right there, question answered.
His wife called it karma. DiStefano says the reunion with this long-lost treasure and the memories it unlocked is even better than that.
I've considered it a miracle since it happened.
And what are the chances of that, right? Talk about good luck. Hey, by the way, back in 1969, that ring cost about $110. It was too expensive to replace it back then, so he never did. DiStefano has mailed a package of thank you gifts to Orlowski for finding that lost treasure. An Eastern Kentucky family who visited Arlington Cemetery says it is a trip they'll remember for the rest of their lives. The video that you can't miss, that's coming up right after the break.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.
Taking a look at some of the videos that you just cannot miss today. We're talking about the Reno Police Department, which has released body cam video of last month's deadly casino shooting, where 3 people were killed and 3 others were hurt. Police found the suspect who started shooting at the officers at the time. Police shot back and hit the suspect, who then ran behind a semi-truck for cover before police arrested him. That shooter, by the way, died 2 days later. Video shows the immediate aftermath of a van explosion outside Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport just last night. Airport authorities noticed smoke coming from the van's glove compartment before it went up in flames. Atlanta Fire Rescue put out that fire pretty quickly. Luckily, in this, nobody was hurt. Finally, a cool honor for one Kentucky family as they participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. The Collette family lives in Leslie County, Kentucky. They have a strong admiration for American history and a deep family history of military service. They say it was an honor and one humbling experience. I can only imagine. Coming up, we'll take a look at some of the stories that we're working on for Wave News coming up a little bit later this afternoon.
Highlighting what's happening where you live, in your community, only on Wave News. Sponsored by Jefferson Animal Hospitals, celebrating 45 years.
And here's a look at the stories that we're working to bring you on Wave News coming up a little bit later this afternoon. We're hearing from the family of the woman shot and killed at the bus stop at 10th and Chestnut yesterday morning. We'll have more on the life that she lived. And even more economic development is coming to Louisville. We'll break down the big announcement being made by Texas Roadhouse this afternoon. Plus, it's move-in day now for U of L students. We'll hear how it's going and what they're excited for this upcoming academic year. All ahead this afternoon on Wave News. As always, we appreciate your time. Make it a great day. We'll see you next time. Listens Live is coming up next.